so injured to their lives. They go on.
Only genuine training is incredible. They cannot do justice.
I'm Jewish, and I'm not a little bit Jewish, I'm like way Jewish. I mean, everything about me is Jewish.
I was born and raised Catholic, went to Catholic school my whole life.
My prophet is Muhammad. We pretty much believe in one God.
I was already basically thinking about becoming Catholic while I was in graduate school.
I'm from Syria, and I'm from a Muslim family, middle class.
Children of Abraham started with John Eby, who's a professor of history here on campus. And he is really passionate about engaging with people of different faith traditions and started up kind of natural conversations and relationships with the local imam in Dubuque, Dr. Adib Kassas, who is part of the Tri-State Islamic Center, and then Alan Garfield, who's a professor at University of Dubuque, who is from the Jewish synagogue. And the three of them, through their discussions, they kind of said, well, let's start up this idea of a group of people coming together to dialogue, to discuss, and to build relationship. So Children of Abraham, Jews, Christians, and Muslims all identify with, we're all considered the Abrahamic faiths. We all are descendants of Abraham, hence the Children of Abraham.
Abraham answered, "Let me take it upon myself to speak to the Lord, I who am but dust and ashes."
To me, religion is very, very important. I mean, that's one of the reasons I chose to be in Dubuque. I chose the University of Dubuque. I was teaching up the street a little bit at this little school, University of Wisconsin in Madison. You heard about it? And but I wanted I know it's got a bad name, but I wanted something that was kind of faith-based, so I could be who I am. And so I happen to be Jewish, and my wife is, and my kids are.
I flew here. How did I come? Why did I come is a big question. Sometimes I can say God wanted me to come. I came here to study psychiatry. Now I'm practicing psychiatrist for 10 years in Dubuque, Iowa. That's the first place I practiced at. And I'm feeling that this town has been very generous to me. And there was a clicking from first time, and I loved Alan and his way of thinking, and fascinates me, and John is beyond love. I mean, he's amazing and he's a wonderful person.
I would tell you the problem has always been John Eby. When we get together, John says, "That was so neat. I wish we could have shared that with somebody else."
My dad was an American Baptist pastor. In those early years, I never hated people, but other religions were certainly not on the path to salvation. And some of them I saw as even blatantly demonic. But I knew people who I really admired and respected, even in terms of faith and morality, who were not Christian. My spiritual mentor wound up being a security guard who was Hindu. I started getting interested in Catholic spiritual writers, in medieval spirituality. I began to explore Islam in graduate school. I did a lot of research into Eastern Orthodox Christianity. Most of my religious cultural setting portrayed Catholicism as very much a distortion of Christianity. Some of my friends would say that it just wasn't even Christian at all. But in 2009, Easter of 2009, I became Catholic.
In some ways, You can easily ask, why even have a conversation like this when you see hatred and distrust spewing in the United States and outside the world, in Western Europe and the rest of Europe, etc. Some say we're in the new dark ages, and you wonder about, I mean, in all of this, how can you be so positive, and why would you even want to have a conversation? And the answer, quite frankly, to me, just my answer is, you start local, but you think global.
Every month during the school semesters, we get together, people speak from their perspective of their faith tradition around a topic, whether it be science or humor or afterlife. And it's really kind of getting just short glimpses into people's perspective of their faith traditions and then really building relationships and dialogue.
What makes it so interesting is I've seen our students and just high school kids coming in and various kids, young ones coming in, and you see the proverbial light going on. And you now realize you got the kiddie version of it. We're moving on to the adult version.
This year was the first year we tried something new called Festivals of Hospitality, in which we gather people to help people in that certain faith tradition celebrate some sort of festival. So for example, for the Jewish tradition, we help them celebrate Sukkot, which is a Jewish gathering remembering the time where they were in exile. So we help them build this little Sukkot, this little temporary structure to pray in. And then people from the Christian and Muslim traditions brought food and had a potluck.
The Jews had not celebrated Sukkot in Dubuque for at least 25 to 30 years. And so it was a nice opportunity for our interfaith community to join together and actually help another community with a sacred festival that they wouldn't necessarily have done.
Something that we did this year was a peace rally in March to end religious intolerance, kind of remembering all of these events that are going on all over our world where people are victims of religious violence and persecution. From Paris to Chapel Hill was the name of the march, where we kind of had a big rally with signs. And it was just a great event of showing support for people all across the Dubuque region.
People use religion to ventilate their anger and their limited information about the other. And they use the religious symbols and the religious practice to increase hate and to increase anger and frustration.
How do I convince people that that Muslim over there or that Christian over there is not ready to do harm to me, etc.? I don't know. All I know is by talking to them, the stranger becomes a friend.
If I was home or like there was an event like this at home, I wouldn't even bother to go see what was it. But it was interesting here. Sometimes when you get out of your comfort zone, this is when you actually start to learn things.
Every time I leave one, I'm like, this is how peace is going to happen. It's just a really awesome experience.
I think it's affecting everybody in town. People are realizing that there is some sane people that can be civilized and can respect each other. In the same time, they can be who they are.
I have had Palestinians and Syrians and Jews and Christians in my living room laughing and joking and talking about difficult topics together and then laughing again. Some of these folks say, I would have never imagined this was possible.